Okay, Marjan, Shelton, let's get right to it. Who were the best dressed at this year's Met Gala? Ooh. I know, we're starting off a little bit strong.
I mean, I have to say I was really shocked by Emma Chamberlain in a great way.
Okay.
I mean, she was one of the first to arrive on the red carpet, and I felt like she really nailed it. And I was really like visually drawn to her look. And then there was like a reveal and into kind of a shorter length. And I was like, okay, yes, I'm living. I think Nicole Kidman looks stunning as well. I mean, she was not on theme, but we're going to give Nicole Kidman a pass because
she's Nicole Kidman.
She's Nicole Kidman, yeah. Exactly. I was really impacted by Chase Infinity, but I think that Chase and Emma Chamberlain are also in conversation. Their looks are anatomical and colorful and really like artistic and visual. So they kind of speak to one another. So I think maybe that's something that my eye is really like drawn to this evening. So those were some of my faves. And I also loved Lena Dunham. I shocked, but I really liked her leg. I was like, okay, let's do it.
Okay, Shelton.
We're kind of on the same like wavelength. Like,
yeah,
Emma Chamberlain, I was like surprised and like that Mugler look was stunning and it set the tone for me. It was like, oh, this is like the first look, and it honestly was one of the top looks. But to that theme, I really loved like the people who played to like the fashion is art theme. I really love Gracie Abrams and that Matthew Blasey Chanel. It was like homage to like a Gustav Klimt painting. I like the girls that leaned into like representation of like the actual artwork. Like the artist Amy Sherrill blew my mind. She like wore a look that referenced her own artwork by Tom Brown, and it was like beautiful. It was like a black woman referencing her own work of a black woman. It was so great. I also really enjoyed Luke Evans. I love that it was like Tom Finland, like queer porn, like cruising. Like I like the people that leaned into that kind of camp of like art.
I love that Luke Evans is a sneaky fan favorite.
Absolutely. I didn't expect to see that on the carpet. And I think that a lot of the men, they're not as prone to taking risks. So it's really exciting to see when they do and it lands. I'll even give Connor Story's arms a little applause because that was really exciting. They were tan, they were freckled. I was like, anything where I feel like men were kind of taking out of the box, I was drawn to as well.
Like Jeremy Pope, he like wore like this Vivienne Westwood like man bodice. It was like the queerness of it, like that was like really prevalent to me. Yeah.
Well, out of the box for me was, I'm sorry, Benito, Bad Bunny.
Oh well,
I have to say it, like
performance art.
Performance art. The man took the challenge and he said, okay, you want to do something different? Let's go. Love that. Okay, so more importantly, or at least more exciting to me, who was the worst dressed?
Oh.
You're like, oh no. I know, we're really starting strong.
I'm going to do the cop-out answer. Because I'm like,
no.
I think that there was just a lot of like black. And I feel like that's such a bare minimum for this exciting theme. Like when we first,
no,
the carpet started,
we want names.
No,
names and photos.
But that's the thing. I don't actually think that there was like one person that was like horrible. It was more boring than horrible.
Right, exactly.
Like that black is like default. Like for art, like I want colorful. I want prints. Like for just a basic black gowns, there was like a lot of that.
Okay, so we're going to get into all of this, but before we do, I think it's time we introduce ourselves. So I'm Ana Maria Sayer. I'm normally the host for NPR Music's Alt Latino podcast, hence my Bad Bunny bias. But today I'm filling in for Brittany Luce while she's out on vacation, very jealous. And I'm here with culture writer Shelton Boyd Griffith and culture critic Marjan Carlos to review the best and worst looks from the 2026 Met Gala. Okay, so we already did a little bit of a preview of the best and worst of the night overall, but how would you overall define this Met Gala? What were the through lines of the night for you all?
It was pretty tame. It was pretty tempered, restrained, and there was just an energy, I think, in the city that ran concurrent with the gala, which was there was a lot of blowback, there's a lot of pushback, there's protests, they're actively happening, and I think that might have deflated a lot of the energy and excitement that normally comes around this event. So I think that was I was like thrown off by that a little bit. So I think everyone was kind of stepping, even in their choices that they wore that night, they were a little safe, I'll say. Yeah, like Charlie XCX. I mean, I expected more from her. I expected more from Doja.
Totally.
These are my girls, and I expect them to make statements, and they actually went very subdued and very femme, which is fine. I mean, we love that, but Doja is known to apply thousands of crystals to her face or dress up like a cat.
Right.
So this is your moment, art, camp, costume. Let's see it. Oof,
Right.
It's
It's almost like let me show up and make sure my name doesn't make it in too many headlines.
that part.
If I were the publicist.
To that point, Marjan, like, it did feel kind of really tame. I think we've got used to like the Met Gala being such a spectacle. Like, we thought of like these fashion as like these huge, like conceptual, like show-stopping moments. This was kind of like we're maybe phasing out of that. Like, it's not so like much about being show-stopping. Like, there was a lot of great gowns, beautiful gowns. As opposed to like the camp year where, you have Billy Porter and like Lil Nas X and like people like doing performance art. This felt more tamed.
For sure.
So obviously, like you mentioned, Marjan, there was a lot of, exterior context, let's say, to what was happening tonight. It does seem like Jeff and Lauren Sanchez Bezos' involvement in the gala did really ultimately tinge everything. They were sponsors for the gala, so for one, their involvement did lead to actual protests of the event, and according to the New York Times, there was a near intrusion. The police presence at the carpet increased throughout the evening. I will also note there was a pretty significant billionaire presence in general. Mark Zuckerberg made his debut at the Met Gala. So did one of Google's founders and billionaire Sergey Brin. So I guess you could maybe call this a billionaire's gala. I mean, is that normal? Is that standard? Is that business as usual? Or does this feel unique to this year?
I previously had said that Elon Musk came. He came with Grimes. And I remember when I was working at Vogue, Instagram was the sponsor that year. That was 2016. So tech's involvement at the Met has been here for a minute. I think they've been more like background, peripheral characters and not centered as the honorary chairs and investing openly, at least publicly, millions of dollars into the event. So I think that leads to people feeling like this might just be a billionaire's gala. I saw a little tweet from Vogue and they were like, Google or big tech loves fashion. And I was like, yikes. The Google exec had his red carpet appearance. I just don't think we've seen that type of enthusiasm for the industry like that and its presence in the past. And I think that can come down to this idea that the New Yorker was talking about recently about taste washing and having tech involved in the production of taste and what that does and how that kind of it kind of cleans up the encroaching on take of AI and how it's taking over everything and humanizing it. And because AI and tech, if we're going to be completely honest, it really works in opposition to craft and to the human touch. So while it can optimize that at times, that's for sure. It can. I feel like the replacement of that is the biggest risk when they encroach upon a night like this, which is about the arts, which is about masterpieces that are thousands of years old, you know, from the great artists of our times. So I think that that tinged a lot of the evening, and there were reports that the tables weren't selling, and people didn't want to be photographed going into Bezos's party on Saturday night. So, you know, it was a real focus. Shelton, I'm curious about your thoughts.
Yeah, like I went to go see the exhibit this morning, and I
Mm-hmm.
felt like there was like this juxtaposition of like everything is like handmade, these beautiful Grecian statues and these like Paul Poiret dresses and like the tactile like quality of handmaking, and then like the encroaching like tech AI conversation, like tech coming into the fashion space. They kind of like this tension. So it's like we built these new galleries to like house, you know, the achievements of hands and man, and then we're funding it with like these tech oligarchs. So it's kind of like
Mm-hmm.
this push and pull.
Totally. I think it's a really fascinating point you make, Marjan, too, because we're looking at this in the context of arts and culture at large, really butting heads, or at least in conversation with AI right now. I mean, this is all happening too, as it was just announced, you know, that there are going to be further restrictions on Oscars entries, and certain awards are kind of pushing back on the involvement of tech, right? And then at the same time, we have this scene where we have all of these big Hollywood folks as well as musicians showing up alongside what felt to me as, you know, this is their debut as cultural figures. Is really what it was. I mean, what's the point of making them more visible is to make, you know, Lauren Sanchez Bezos do the interview on the red carpet alongside every other, you know, cultural figure present. So it's a really fascinating confrontation that we're
Yes.
seeing.
Yes, it's very fascinating. It's very uncomfortable. I think I don't know if anybody here also saw Devil Wears Prada 2 last week, but
I haven't seen it yet.
Spoilers.
well, they bring that topic up, and I think they did a really great job of injecting that into the plot, and basically talking about how, you know, with publications at a decline, they need economic salvage. You know, they need someone to come in and help them and resuscitate budgets, or you know, and help them restore to these golden years of publishing. So they do turn often to billionaires who have this money, and they also want to be included in these huge cultural moments. And what's at risk when these two worlds collide? And I don't want to give it away, but you know, I think they were basically saying that, you know, the print publishing world is here to stay. That's a very idyllic way of thinking, and I hope that that's true. But I do think that there is a real tension there when, you know, newsrooms are being cut, and publications are being bought up by oligarchs. So it's like, what's really going to save this this medium?
Right.
You know?
Right. Totally. And to your point, I mean, when we're talking about them wanting to participate in art when they are arguably potentially creating something that is one of the greatest threats to it, is a challenging conversation that I don't think I saw playing out on the red carpet. We did say, you know, we did see Cher in an interview answer a question where she was asked how she felt about Jeff Bezos' involvement, and she said, "I'm not a fan," quote.
One thing that I did like notice, like specifically with Lauren Sanchez Bezos' like outfit, that it was like an homage to this John Sargent Madame X painting, which is this painting of this affluent rich white woman. So it's like you're already, you know, asserting yourself in the conversation that like I am on theme as this rich, you know, tastemaker. I don't know. I just thought that was so meta. Like you're coming dressed as like this rich, affluent painting, and that
Right.
felt kind of like we're not reading the room, but then also we are. Like maybe it's like on the nose. I don't know. But I thought that it was like really an intentional choice for her to point as
Yeah.
like her. Yeah.
Right. Like fully assuming the patron role shamelessly.
Absolutely. I think it also gave us nothing, and it was absolutely inoffensive. So, it was a look that, had a quote unquote depth and meaning, but visually it was like a dress with a little diamond sleeve. So, it was it was very interesting to see that as her choice ultimately, after having taken up so much space in the room. Something very, very simple.
Okay, so we do have to take it back to the fashion for a
Okay.
second because I want, this is really my opportunity as a non, expert to get like a more elevated sense of what was happening because I just saw a lot of colors. So I do want to talk about the theme because every year the Met Gala has a theme associated with the Met's Costume Institute's annual exhibition. This year's theme was Fashion is Art, which I have to admit I'm a little lost on. How would you describe this year's theme yourselves, and how did you see it show up?
I think this was a very broad theme. It could have went anywhere, and I think that's what we kind of saw. But to me, at
Yes.
the core, when I hear fashion is art, I literally just hear that like
Right.
fashion that is interpreted through art, performance art, abstract art, paying homage to artists or like popular works of art, like performance art. So I thought that was pretty clear when I heard it, but seeing on the carpet, it wasn't as. It was just like a montage of so many different themes. Like I'm gonna wear this. I want to wear this pretty Saint Laurent dress. I want to put a flower on this. I'm gonna like say this was inspired by a painting. I don't know. It just didn't feel like. I keep going back to the camp theme. It just felt like this was like so reserved and people didn't know what to do. Kind of like with the tailored for you, they
Mm,
didn't know what to do, and I think people just
Mhm.
resorted to just pretty, which is always the default.
I
right.
agree. I think they kind of gave up in the middle of it. And I think there was a lot of like, I'll dress up like a painting.
Mm-hmm.
I,
Yes.
I will interpret a painting
Anne
and then I will,
Hathaway,
and
quite
then
literally.
that's how, I'll do it. I do think that Hunter Schafer pulled that off very beautifully
Oh, gorgeous.
in Prada. So I thought she was very beautiful. I did not think that Kim K executed that idea well. I think that she should have just gone without the skirt around her butt because let's just be honest. Like if this is bodies, 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 like let's just go there, you know? Um and so I think that was another theme that people were writing too, is being like, okay, let's show off the form, the human form. So there was a lot of nips and corsets and body reveals and bustles and things like that, which was kind of fun. I think that like Olivia Wilde's look was really fun. I thought that was like kind of cool to see the bustle out of the dress. Um, and it was even Kendall's look was interesting in the sense that like they took a white t-shirt from Gap and they made her dress and they draped her and you saw a little bit of like a nude a bust peeping out. So I liked that. But yeah, I think people kind of went a little rogue. I don't know if they were. And there were a lot of hands. There was a lot of
Yeah.
hands
Well,
everywhere.
that was interesting to me because it almost felt like fashion is art got reinterpreted half the time as like body is art. And like
Hmm.
fashion and body, I don't know how you felt about that because yeah, it was the exhibition of the human body.
I think
Yeah.
that's like the thing with the theme. It's like the exhibition theme and the dress code go hand in hand. And I think people
Hmm.
pull from both simultaneously. And
Hmm.
we saw that, like, referencing art, but then like paying homage to, like, the body. In the exhibit, there was like there were these leggings called BBL leggings. They were like actually like
Hmm.
leggings stuff. And like I just thought about Kim K. And like I wish that she would have took off
Right.
that skirt and
I
just
wish.
owned her curves and her body.
Hmm.
Well, so that's what I'm wondering. It almost feels to me oftentimes like we avoid conversations about the body or diverse bodies in a setting like the Met Gala or, in Hollywood and music. Did it feel different this year that people were maybe at least talking about it? There's been a huge surge in Ozempic usage at the same time, so we're against the backdrop of that. I mean, did we see a little bit of that conversation on the carpet?
Ooh, did we see any conversation? I don't. Shelton, did you see anything that felt?
I won't say on the carpet, but I will say an exhibit, it is that. Like, I
Yeah.
think that was the
Okay.
disconnect.
Okay, so Shelton, this might be a good time to mention that you actually went and saw the exhibition. What is it about?
So the exhibition theme is costume art. And it is a conversation on fashion in the body and how fashion in the body is interpreted through artwork. So it talks about like the nude body. So think about like Grecian, sculptures and like how like fabric weaves on them. It talks about the disabled body. It talks about the pregnant body, the plus size body. Yeah, it's a conversation on bodies and how it intertwines with like fashion and art because we're always fashioned in art with clothes. And to be honest, it it tackles so many conversations that I still don't think we're tackling like full on. It was interesting to see like fat bodies and like disabled bodies and like mannequins that resembled actual plus size women and not just like caricatures of big bodies. Um, they were like trans bodies and trans models and interpretations on like motherhood and like what does that look like. It was really a class like lesson in like what fashion really needs to do. So I also kind of felt like that was really funny to like see the red carpet, and I didn't really see those conversations taking place that I saw. Like it's a really profound exhibit. Like it's really spectacular in the way that it tackles like the nude body and like the whole section about the disabled body and like models in wheelchairs and dwarfism. And I really wish that we would have had more examples of that on the carpet, that people actually like even talking about that on the red carpet.
Do either of you feel like you saw anything on the carpet that was representative of that?
Let me look at my notes.
Okay, so what are the looks that people are going to be talking about tomorrow that we haven't talked about yet?
Hmm.
I think unfortunately that people are going to be talking about Heidi Klum. Um,
Halloween.
Halloween. I was like, I don't want this. I don't need this. Let's say that for your party in October. Um, I really did not like that at all.
Okay,
And
so
I
I'm
don't
hearing
think
an answer to worst dressed from the beginning. We didn't want to name names, but we had names.
That was a costume.
it
That was not
was
a dress.
it was not a dress. It was a gimmick. And that's not what we came to see. Um, I think obviously we'll be talking about Beyonce and Blue, and like the royal family and their debut. Um, Katy Perry and Stella McCartney with the mirror face, which I think actually was done very well.
Yeah.
And I'm not always a huge fan of her on the red carpet, but I think she did it very well. Um, and I I will say this: I loved Anderson Paak for wearing Tory Burch flats. I thought that was really smart. That was very very smart and very meta. Um, but and I think obviously people are going to be talking about Kim K as well.
I agree.
Shelton?
Kim K. Kim K for sure. I think Madonna, just because she's in the discourse
Oh,
right
right.
now around her
Mm-hmm.
music, and that headpiece that she had on. It's kind of hard to decipher like iconic looks. Like I think like with some Met Galas, you instantly walk away knowing like
Yeah.
this is gonna be in the zeitgeist. This is gonna be in the
Yeah.
cultural zeitgeist. This year, I honestly for the first time didn't really feel that. There were not a lot of nice looks, but I don't know like what's going to be like talked about going forward. Yeah, like one person who we always are talking about post Met Gala is Rihanna, and she actually just showed up late, like she always does, and she was wearing like Margiela, and I think also her showing up late is going to like add to like the continuation of people waking up and talking about it tomorrow, because it's late, people are going to sleep and party, but tomorrow they're probably talking like, oh, Rihanna's there, she came.
Exactly. It's like waiting for the election results to come in. we all just we all just wait with bated breath for mother to arrive. And she's the only person that's allowed to come late. So she did. Um, and I love the beauty. I love the hair and the jewelry. I need to get into the look a bit more. It's deeply embroidered and it's a different like silhouette for her and a different color palette than I've seen her before. And so it's always exciting to see how she reinterprets that.
So, I mean, how does this Met Gala fit into the larger Met Gala history?
I think, like I said earlier, I think we're just at a place now where, like, because the Met Gala has become such a cultural force, everyone is covering. Like, I was on Twitter and like Pop Crave was talking about it. It's literally everywhere. The spectacle is weaning, and with that, I think fans are looking to expect these grand looks, and when they don't deliver, they just kind of get lost to like the internet, and like we never will talk about these looks again, which is so unfortunate because they spend so many hours making these gowns and these couture gowns that kind of just like fall into the wayside. But because we've had so many like Rihanna's and Zendaya's and like Beyonce's and like these iconic like looks, it's kind of hard nowadays to even present a look at the Met Gala, to be honest.
I agree. I totally agree. I think there's a lot of risk in not getting it right. So people definitely play it safe, more safe than they have in the past. And I do think that like it may contract a little bit next year. I think that the magazine and the museum are going to take Vogue. I mean, and the Met are probably going to take a lot of the dissent around it into effect when they're thinking about the next year's committee and next year's theme and the guest list. I really do. I think they're going to take this into consideration because the blowback has been detrimental. And at the end of the day, it is a fundraising effort. And like Shelton reminded us, it is about a beautiful exhibit. And so that can get lost. So I think that next year we'll probably see something maybe back to form and less tech bros.
Oh my God, guys, thank you so much for joining me. This is like a lot of helpful context for me. I love picking your brains about this, so I appreciate it.
Thank you. This was amazing.
Thank you for having us.
That was culture critic Marjan Carlos and culture writer Shelton Boyd Griffith. I'm Ana Maria Sayer, sitting in for Brittany Luce. You can find me over on NPR Music's Alt Latino podcast, and a reminder that you should run, don't walk, and hit that subscribe button on Spotify, YouTube, or the NPR app so you can get new video episodes of It's Been a Minute every Tuesday morning. Thanks for listening, and talk soon.